right, YouTube, I've been investigating some interesting developments in the Street Fighter 6 Twitter scene. We have a clip from Tommy Toledo here that is going around the community and getting people all riled up. It's a little inflammatory, of course, the way they phrased it here. Show me one clip from Street Fighter 5 with more robbery than this type of shit, since everybody hates V-Trigger so much. Wow. I mean, this is gonna get the people going here. Let's see the clip. Elena misses the ODDP. They have full life. Sagat is in the corner. Conversion to CA. Oh no. Oh no. You had such a lead. You had such a lead, Igor Bogdanov. Where did it all go? Ouch. Ouch. Big comeback. And by the way, just to be clear, the one making the comeback is here, Tommy Toledo himself, who's critiquing the ability to make such a comeback in the game of Street Fighter 6. And here he's talking with James Chen about it, actually, who highlights that he thinks level 3s are often the problem for getting these comebacks because of the fact that, you know, it was the one touch here. Elena went for the anti-air DP in the corner, and they did OD with it, and because it didn't connect properly, they were under 3 bars, the towards heavy kick, and the CA depleted the rest of the dry meter, and the rest is history. And Tommy says here, way too easy to force checkmate, even when you're at basically maximum resources and full health like this. Really boring IMO. And of course, you know, whenever you challenge the status of Street Fighter 6, there's gonna be people saying, hey, old game not better than new game. People were pointing out, of course, like Idom literally making crazy comebacks like this with a V-Trigger, of course. Idom just posted a Street Fighter 5 video. Here he is. He's getting beat up by Lucia here, and I'm not gonna lie, I forgot this character's name. Who the fuck is this character? Jumping overhead, and you're dead.
V-Trigger is a mechanic.
V-Trigger is a mechanic. They're trying to draw comparisons to that comeback that just happened. Here, of course, we have to have a bullshit comeback clip compilation. Wouldn't be complete without Broski and the Aura here. Here he is in the corner. Classic Oro shenanigans, going for the chip. That's not enough. Raw V-Trigger activate. Look at the damage. Doesn't this one take you back?
Okay.
To be fair, look.
Wait a minute.
To be fair, there's some special RNG that applies here. Nice little shimmy there at the end. That's a KO. Come on. This damage is increased by a few percentage points because he has a Game Boy. In certain situations, you can dish out massive damage and make insane comebacks in Street Fighter 5. But it wasn't just Street Fighter 5 players getting into the mix here. It was people with Street Fighter 4 getting into this. Tino here says, what's frustrating about this is that it's not crazy sequences like this existing that's bad. It's that they're so incredibly easy to pull off and common in Street Fighter 6. And then, of course, this clip, I feel bad for Greg. This clip has been going around for eternity. Mags will never live this moment down when he went up against Smug in Street Fighter 4 online and ranked. This clip has made the rounds in the FGC for millennia at this point. Ouch. Literally a 2-touch sequence, right? Neutral jump, anti-air, into a full meter cash out. Not full meter, but using, yeah, pretty much full meter. And then that's a 50-50. You're guessing on the overhead or the low there. And then optimized combo conversion to the full cash out. 2-touch, true 2-touch kill in this scenario. So that is, you know, just evidence that no matter which Street Fighter game you go back to, there will be explosive, massive high damage and comeback potential and crazy sequences that can kill people in 2 hits. However, one thing that really stood out to me was Tommy's comment here that he said way too easy to force checkmate even when you're at basically maximum resources. And so while all the discussion here is around like comeback potential and the ability to do big damage and make big swings in the momentum going, there's a key word here, and that is checkmate. And the implication here is once Tommy got this punish here on the ODDP based on the meter situations with him having CA, Elena not having level 2 available because that is, you know, her only invincible option, and the CA burning her out, that this is a checkmate. which means this would be a one-touch kill because a checkmate implies that there's 0 other options available. So from the moment this towards heavy kick landed and put Elena in this resource situation, she had 0 counterplay available to survive the situation. And that got me really thinking about, like, what is a checkmate? Is this a true one-touch scenario? Is that what is actually occurring here? Let's go ahead and get into training mode and take a look at exactly the situation. So I've already recreated this. So here we have Elena doing the DP here after blocking this, and she's going to go into burnout basically on the punish. So Tommy does this combo here. This is the combo route he goes for in this situation to force the burnout. So we're going to go ahead and save the state here and recreate what's going on. So Tommy goes for towards light kick here and then gets the party started. So first off, I do have to call out some issues with the whole sequence with what happened. Tommy, after the super, went for forward light kick to crashing medium punch to begin the momentum. And it's not a terrible idea, right? This is plus, the crashing medium into the OD Tiger Knee. That's going to leave you plus as well. Get you close to the corner. We can do a pretty airtight string to get a guaranteed stun and DI. However, this is not exactly true because while, yes, this is a meaty, so if they pressed a button here, they would just get counter hit, and that could lead to a combo in an even worse situation, right? It would just end up actually getting them killed faster. On block, this is only +1. Which means you can't go into the 7-frame crouching medium punch. So there's already like an ounce of counterplay. So from that routing that Tommy went for, this was not checkmate. Now with +1, you can do different options, right? Like you can try to go for like a jab string and go into Jinrai. However, every interaction with Jinrai from this point forward, it's not a checkmate. It's not a guaranteed situation, and there's the opportunity for the defender to actually engage with whatever is happening here, right? So yes, this would frame trap, but once this lands, I can go for the mix-up of thinking if you're standing, extend my plus frames with the medium kick ender with the Jinrai, or I can just go for the combo ender and I'm +3 and I can pressure you, but there's nothing guaranteed. Or I can try to go for the gusto here, go for the extension on the plus frames and go for the heavy kick ender and try to extend my turn and then set up a situation, right? Like there's options here, but every one of these options has potential counterplay and none of them lead to an immediate guaranteed stun. So that's one issue with the way Tommy approached this. But there are other options, right? So maybe what if I did instead a towards heavy kick? That's pretty good. This leaves you plus as hell and hits meaty. And then I can get the party started with going into the OD Tiger Knee string. And like I mentioned before, once you get into that sequence, it's really dangerous to challenge because any one of these combos trades, and once that happens, it's over. Like you're gonna die. So towards heavy kick is definitely a great option to use to get this going. However, that also has another issue. Towards heavy kick whiffs on crouchers. So yes, it does hit meaty even if you hold down back on wake up. If you wake up with a crouching button, like maybe not something as dramatic as sweep, maybe you wake up with a crouching medium kick instead, this will actually shrink your hurt box. Normally your hurt box is standing for 1 frame on wake up no matter what, unless you wake up with a crouching button. So if they read you're going for the towards heavy kick, the Elena could wake up with crouching medium kick and convert that to a combo, and therefore this is not a checkmate meaty. This is not guaranteed. Okay, so that means if we want to get something that's going to be a guaranteed sequence to push them to the corner, we saw that towards light kick sets up a great situation, but this is not guaranteed, right? Like this is a great situation, but it's not guaranteed to immediately secure a stun and kill. Towards heavy kick sets up a great situation, but it's not guaranteed to land either, right? There is potential mix-up here that the defender can flip a coin and make something happen. What can you do instead? Well, the best thing Sagat has here is dry rush stand medium punch. This does hit meaty, and they're not going to be able to wake up with any other options besides block if they want to defend against this. So that's an option that Sagat can use to get in. Let's go down this path here from this routing to see if we can get a guaranteed checkmate 1-play KO from this sequence. So if we start with the stand medium punch, this is super plus, and then we can start this sequence. And every hit of this sequence that we go for here, this all frame traps. All of this frame traps. So we can rack up chip and then go for the stun and get the guaranteed kill. except it didn't kill. No guaranteed kill. No checkmate. Hold on. Well, maybe I just didn't optimize that. Let me try this again. Let me try a different combo route. Let's get him to the corner. Get all the guaranteed sequence. Let's save our bar here. Let's slow down on the chip. That's more damage. Not a guaranteed kill. Now, keep in mind, if at any point the Elena player decided to mash, like if they went to try to mash out of this stun sequence and they got hit at any point, or if they try to engage, or if they didn't block this DI, they mash into it, they would be dead. But if they blocked all this out looking for a guaranteed kill, they actually would survive. And as far as I'm aware, you're not able to actually build the resources to kill. There's no way to get the guaranteed stun and build either a level 1 or do enough chip from this situation to get a guaranteed kill. So if you go for the level 1 build, unfortunately, with this guaranteed sequence, you're not going to be able to do it. So if you pay attention to the meter builds, let's just say you go for the stun here, right? No matter what, if you go for a meter build route as well, nope, you don't build it. You're going to have to, from that combo starter that Tommy set up, in order to get a guaranteed kill, either the opponent has to commit to not blocking, or you're going to have to overextend on your pressure at some point to either mix them up with Tiger Jinrai, which means they have an opportunity to fight back, or go for a grab, right? So there's from the starter that Tommy showed, there's what I found, unless there's something that someone can find, there's no guaranteed checkmate. Don't get me wrong. This is a super fucked up situation, and you are probably going to die. Do not get me wrong. You have to flip a coin and guess with the deck loaded against you. I'm not saying you're likely to live through this as the defender. I'm just saying objectively, this is not a checkmate. Because if you get the most guaranteed autopilot sequences that are available, do not lead to a kill. So there's no guaranteed checkmate from this situation. But that's why most of the time, most people don't go for the immediate checkmate. They go for things like resets into grabs. They use the loaded advantage of the burnout to tack on a bit more damage so that eventually you can get the guaranteed checkmate. As soon as you get a throw and then go for this, you're good. Let's start the sequence over and then do something a little bit better, because I don't think Tommy's combo was the most optimal starter. What if we did more damage up front? And all props to Tommy. It's kind of an interesting problem to solve, because you actually have to get the punish in time before the meter comes back. So if I just try to go for like an optimal combo conversion here, it's actually going to eventually let the drive gauge regen. Yeah, so even that route, they would have built the 2 bars back to not go into burnout. So because you have to actually solve the puzzle of quickly hitting them before they get the drive gauge back, it's actually not that easy to optimize. There is a little bit of awareness you have to cut your combo routing short in order to get the stun here. So if I were Tommy, I probably would have gone for this. So this does, I believe, like 400 more damage than the starter he did. So from this starter, let's see what we can do. We're doing a lot more damage up front. And then this is going to be the optimal stun. Nope. Unfortunately, still not enough. Maybe we can rack in more chip. I could also try doing something like this. Meaty OD Tiger Knee. That hits on frame 4, but that still should be a good option, because even if they wake up with a 4 frame, you see we trade like that. This is not the worst option in the world. Now, you could argue that this is still not checkmate, because if they get hit by this trade, you know, you can still get in. So actually, it still is checkmate. Like, you're still screwed. So let's try starting with OD Tiger Knee and assuming they don't mash. Well, there's a problem. Burnt out. You don't get the optimal combo conversion. Let's have them stand instead. Let's see this. So not only do you have to worry about if the life resources and all that, here, if they're standing, then I get the second hit of the heavy kick to connect, which gives me enough meter to do the drive rush. There we go. The problem with this is if they're crouching, this just doesn't work. So if they're crouching, the second hit of stand heavy kick there doesn't connect. And when that doesn't connect, you don't build that last little bit of meter you need to not go into burnout yourself on this attack. So if they crouch this situation, it's still really, really bad. But if they crouch the guaranteed sequence, you don't die. Don't get me wrong, this is a horrible situation, but technically it's not checkmate because you have the counterplay of choosing to block and hold down back to make it so that stand heavy kick doesn't hit twice, to limit the amount of meter build from Sagat so that he doesn't keep the drive gauge and ends up burning himself out when going for this sequence. So there's a tiny bit of counterplay still a tiny bit of counterplay to ensure this is not a checkmate. Now you're still screwed for sure, but you have a choice. You have a choice between standing and crouching when blocking this whole sequence. But let's try to see if we can get a true, honest-to-God, guaranteed burnout. So let's see if we can get even more damage. The obvious problem here is we have to do a lot of Tiger Knees to guarantee the chip to do enough damage on the stun. So what if we can get even more damage on the starter combo that still burns out in time before their drive gauge ends up coming back? There we go. We can side swap and get a more optimal combo. Put them right in the corner. And that's our highest damage combo so far. And so this one, we're going to go ahead and test it also with them crouching here. Okay, that seems pretty good, right? It looks like we found from this situation an absolutely guaranteed checkmate here. So remember, if they wake up with buttons here, that's going to be just, you know, an immediate trade combo into a worse situation. And if they block and try to press buttons, well, they're just going to get frame trapped into a combo. And then this is easy. This is guaranteed no matter what at that point, right? This whole sequence magically sets up the perfect kill. And it seems like we finally cracked the code. Yes, this is a one-touch interaction. Checkmate. I got one perfect punish, and it's checkmate all the way through. Except, it's not. Theoretically, if you know that the Sagat is going for the meaty OD Tiger Knee in order to set up the chip damage, to get the airtight block string, to set up the exact meter situation, to get the guaranteed stun, you can technically wake up with your light DP. It has a little bit of air invincibility, it hits quickly, and you can trade with this or beat it clean. And on the trade, I believe, yeah, Elena is plus 12 here. So you're plus 12, but you're in the corner. You're still in a really bad situation. But if you guess that he was going for the meaty Tiger Knee with OD to set up this exact chip sequence, and you woke up with your anti-air light DP, you can trade with it and get frame advantage and potentially get out of the corner. So this just goes to show that while I do agree to some extent that I think Street Fighter 6 with the meter situations ends up with these really horrible situations where people are almost checkmated, theoretically, technically, there's often a tiny bit of player choice involved where you could potentially find, you know, and your ace in the hole right there to actually get out of the situation. And it's not technically a checkmate where there's no actual counterplay to escape. So in some ways, their situations are really, really bad. But I don't know off the top of my head if there's any 100% guaranteed 0 to death checkmate situation in the game. If there is, it would have been Marissa like in season 1, but I'm a little rusty on those exact interactions. So please let me know in the comments or whatever if you know of any actual true checkmates from 0 to death. Hey, Brian F in post here. So there was a bit more development on this situation. It turns out there is a way to get a guaranteed checkmate, and the solution is actually a lot more simple than you would expect. The solution is, of course, a fully charged heavy punch DP as the punish starter. This will get the big damage single hit and burnout secured, and allows you to approach with this interesting sequence going to the heavy tiger Jinrai, which gives you the corner carry you need, along with conserving your meter enough so that you get close enough to the corner to get the actual burnout here, and you have the extra drive gauge remaining to get the full combo here for an easy kill. So the secret is get as much damage as possible in one hit as early as possible to secure the burnout and get enough damage and have enough meter to get the corner carry. So yes, a checkmate from this situation is possible. You just got to know to punish things with fully heavy charge DP, of course. And big shout outs here, of course, for this find from Rashid, Alwadi Rashid on Twitter here, actually after a quick back and forth about some options. So yeah, checkmate actually possible. Okay, back to the rest of the video. It's pretty rare in Street Fighter 6. So yes, horrible situations if you get burnt out with the CA early on. Really bad situations for sure, don't get me wrong. But it's pretty interesting that you can actually go really deep into these situations and find that it's kind of hard to optimize both on offense to get a guaranteed kill and on defense to escape them. Anyways, that's all I got for this video. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.